Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New. I'm coming at you on this Wednesday. And first and foremost, as always, want to send out positive vibrations and blessings to anybody who could be listening. Now, with all that being said, we all know that the Los Angeles Lakers were in action on yesterday, battling for the 7th spot for the play-in tournament to get the 7th seed to take on the number 2 Memphis Grizzlies. And of course, they had a rematch against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who they had beat recently. And we know we had a full breakdown of that last game, I believe, on yesterday's show, as we talked about how the matchups would play out. And they kind of played out just as I thought they would. The only thing is the Lakers did not execute in the first half on the defensive end of the floor. They waited until halftime to start playing good defense, and that is something that the Lakers cannot afford to do when they are playing against better teams and title contenders such as the Memphis Grizzlies, Phoenix Suns, or the Golden State Warriors. And right now, those are the 3 teams who are my favorites to come out of the Western Conference. And right now, I'm still going to roll with the Lakers because I know what they are capable of doing. I know after the game last night, Charles Barkley stated that, oh, I know the Memphis Grizzlies are happy now because no team is happy to want to face the Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, one of the best duos in the NBA. I don't think any team wants that, but then again, if anybody does, it would be the Memphis Grizzlies and, of course, Dillon Brooks, because he doesn't really dodge any smoke, and we understand that. And I am going to get into a full breakdown maybe on today's show, but probably in the coming days, of course, since the Lakers have a much-deserved rest that they need. Of course, we know the Lakers played, 5 games and 8 nights leading up until the end of the season, and played an overtime game in Utah, and then had to turn right back around and play this play-in game, which was a highly contested, hard-fought game. And of course, the Lakers, like I said, did prevail 108-102. We'll talk about more on that in just a moment too. But at the end of the day, the Lakers do need this rest, probably more than any team, I won't say in the NBA, but damn near in the history of the NBA, because the Lakers season has just been so full of turmoil as far as the trade deadline, getting in new players, seeing what you have to do to adapt with all the new players that you're going to be getting. It's just a whole lot that the Lakers had to deal with. And because of that, you know, I just feel like the Lakers really need this rest, not only physically, but also mentally. But man, the Lakers did give us a scare on yesterday, and for a brief moment, I thought that the Lakers would be taking on the Denver Nuggets and would have to be into a fight for their playoff lives against either OKC or the Pelicans, which I'm still thinking I'm leaning towards the Pelicans on that game. I love what XGA and that young squad is doing, but I just feel like Brandon Ingram, with the experience, especially last year, getting them into the conference, into the playoffs out of the play-in last year, it's just that experience, and maybe CJ McCullough, who is a little tested as well. So I just have to lean maybe a little bit towards New Orleans on that, especially considering that New Orleans is the one who will have home court in that matchup. But we're not going to talk about that. Let's talk more about the Lakers. So like I said, they cannot go out here and start bully woofing against other teams like they did on yesterday. The Lakers played a great game. There's a lot of things I want to touch on, though. One of the main stories of the game that I don't think a lot of people are talking about is that DAngelo Russell getting his minutes cut. I mean, Dennis Schroeder played 32 minutes last night. DAngelo Russell, I think, only played 24 or 25 minutes. And Dennis Schroeder played excellent. I mean, we already know that he is a great on-ball defender, and he turned his ankle last night. That's like the 3rd time this season that I can recall that Dennis Schroeder turned his ankle during the game, and it looked pretty bad, but he continued to come out and play, and not only come out and play, but to play well. I mean, he had 21 points, 4 rebounds, a couple of assists. You know, his shooting percentage just wasn't the best. He did miss quite a few shots in close, but from behind the arc, he was 3 out of 4, and if my math serves me correctly, that is 75%, and that was big time, especially what we thought would be the game-winning shot, but it was not to be, because when LeBron James made that perfect play, sucking the defense in and kicking it out to his open teammate, Dennis Schroeder made them pay. And there was another game during this year, I think maybe against Charlotte or another team, where they should have won the game and they didn't, and Dennis Schroeder missed that exact same spot. he said he was not going to miss it this time. He even said that, I think, in the post-game presser when they briefly talked to him. But at the end of the day, that is one of the things that I keep saying is so valuable about the Lakers, because to me, I feel like they're probably, next to the Clippers, one of the deepest teams in the league. And I would probably say a little more deeper now, because they have somebody like a Vanderbilt who can go out and do the things that he does as far as getting his hands on ball, getting in passing lanes, being a great on-ball defender, being a versatile defender, being able to defend, you know, positions 1 through 5. Vanderbilt is capable of doing that, which really helps the Lakers because they pretty much switch on everything. And I do want to talk about the switching too, because I know they mentioned that in the TNT post game last night about how Karl Anthony Towns should be demanding the ball. He had Austin Reeves or Dennis Schroeder on him one time during the switch, but that's easy for them to say. But when it's not a lot of time left in the shot clock, and you have to have the vision. And Karl Anthony Towns was already pressed, and he knew he had to drive towards the ball, towards the basket. So it's easier said than done. And I know this, like back in the day, Shaq, you could just back down anybody, and if they were standing on their spot, and Shaq would just back them down, back them down, back them down, and dunk. Well, just because a little player on you now, that doesn't mean you could just back them down, and then just boom, turn around and dunk. You would have to shoot over them, which Shaq is capable of doing. Now, Shaq was very good from inside. Shaq was a phenomenal passer. Shaq doesn't get enough credit that he deserves for the fancy footwork that he used to give. You know, Shaq was always had his eyes open for cutters to the basket, and whenever they double Shaq, he knew exactly where to go out to. And that's one thing I wanted to bring up about Anthony Davis, because with Anthony Davis, you know, it's sometimes where he's getting doubled, but he is not necessarily kicking it out to the right place. But credit to the Timberwolves from doubling from the right places, you know, and not, you know, coming from the weak side, where it makes it harder to pass the ball over the defense or to make a looping pass around the key to get over to that weak side shooter. But at the end of the day, you know, that's something that the Lakers need to focus on going more as they get deeper in their journey into the playoffs, as far as when they come for that double for AD, because that hard double is going to continue to come, and the Lakers have to make them pay. And the best way to make them pay is ball movement. And even if it's not just the first pass, you know, it could be the next pass, but the Lakers just need to continue to move the rock. And as long as they continue to move that rock, I just have confidence. I have a whole lot of confidence that the Lakers will be able to go out and win the next series against the Memphis Grizzlies, and I'll talk more about that later. But back to the game on last night. Of course, a lot of people say LeBron James doesn't make clutch plays, and it's very critical of him, and I know he was a minus for the game, but of course LeBron James last night, you know, hit you with what, 30 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and he hit a really big three-pointer with like 1 minute and 50 seconds left or so in the game, where the Lakers were actually down by 3. I think they were down 95-92 at that point. And what does LeBron James do? He hits the big three to tie the game and really shift the momentum towards the Lakers. And I think the Lakers only gave up 9 or 10 points in the fourth quarter. But of course, even after LeBron James made that play, we can't talk about how AD, for the second time in, what, 3 weeks, Anthony Davis, poor closeout, and ends up fouling a three-point shooter. I think he did that, maybe it was the Dallas game where they end up winning, and had they not did that and gave away that game, then of course the Lakers would probably be at that 6th seed ready to play Sacramento. But you know, I did early on say that I was afraid for the Grizzlies, the Lakers to face the Grizzlies, because the Grizzlies matched up well with them. But to be totally honest, without Steven Adams and Clark, I just feel like the Lakers are going to be too much of a physical presence for them. Another thing I want to point out about last night's game as well is how versatile the Lakers are, because even when Vando wasn't having a great game, when Vanderbilt had 0 points, of course, but he's been a great defender, but he wasn't necessarily doing a great job last night. And I do want to call out LeBron James for his poor defense on Taurean Prince in the first half. LeBron James didn't lock in defensively to the second half. You have to give that type of effort all game, and I don't want to hear being old as an excuse, because I know he's doing a lot of heavy lifting on the offensive end, but it's not asking much from a LeBron James to close out. And I think his energy is going to be a lot better come Sunday after the Lakers get these much-deserved 4 days off that I was talking about earlier. But Anthony Davis closes out. Thank goodness that Mike Conley did not make the shot, because if Mike Conley makes that shot, it's a 4-point play and the Lakers lose. So that very well could have been the case, but it was not to be, because of course the the Lakers took care of business, as we all know by now. And if you really look at it, the Lakers, I think the Lakers, as far as turnovers, the Lakers, they had what, the same amount of turnovers as Minnesota. They both had 20 turnovers, but the Lakers' points off turnovers was 30 compared to their 19. And of course, the Lakers did out-rebound them 48-37, giving them multiple extra possessions. Because if you look at it for the game, you know, the Wolves was 36 out of 83. Well, the Lakers was 38. They had 2 more shots. They was 38 out of 92. And of course, as far as the free throw, I know people want to complain and say the Lakers got a lot of free throws late, but that was just the Lakers being aggressive as usual. We know they're one of the best teams in the league as far as getting to the line and drawing contact. The Lakers, of course, made them pay 22 out of 24 for free throws, whereas Minnesota was, I think, 14 out of 15, which is not like that's a huge discrepancy at the end of the day. But the points off turnovers was big for the Lakers. And of course, Dennis Schroeder, the way he was closing out, there was a lot of plays in the fourth quarter where Dennis Schroeder was pretty much everywhere, deflecting balls, getting balls out of bounds. The one play in particular with LeBron James, when he was diving for that loose ball, I didn't think that was necessarily a good call. I think the officials kind of did a little bit too much by calling that foul on LeBron James, because they both had a right for the ball. But I guess I can understand they're saying that LeBron James took his legs from underneath him. So at the end of the day, the Lakers still kept trying to find a way to give away the game. I don't know what was going on, but they continued to LeBron James make poor passes on the inside. I'm not really sure what was going on in that extent. But at the end of the day, you know, they pulled it off. They did what they needed to do, and now they got the much needed rest, of course. And let's talk more about, but I did want to focus on the versatility of the Lakers lineup, because I did say, you know, when Vanderbilt wasn't playing, Rudy Hachimura came in and gave you the same length, the same great defense, pretty much that Vandy was giving you. But also he hit 2 big threes, one of them in a clutch situation. And that is going to be big for Hachimura coming out. And one of the bigger threes that he hit was that first 3 to open overtime, because you know how overtime starts. Whichever team gets up first, it's usually a good sign. And for the first shot is for LeBron James penetrating to the drive, to the paint, and to be able to kick out to an open Hachimura who was confident enough to hit that shot. Now going forward, what's going to be interesting to see is DAngelo Russell getting his time cut back like that. Is that going to affect his mentality? You know, I don't want to say that he can't play under pressure, but I expect him to have a lot better game than that. I don't know if it's any of the nagging injuries that he's been dealing with, but he should have been able to perform a whole lot better than 1 for 9, I think, from the field is what he was. And I don't even think he played in a single minute of the fourth quarter. I think he might have came in that last possession with him and Schroeder in the backcourt when Schroeder hit that game-winning shot, because I think the plan was for the Lakers to spread the floor, for LeBron to penetrate, and whichever person was to come, and whoever he was to draw in, then that's who he was going to kick it out to. So with all that being said, you know, that's what LeBron James did, and it worked out. But like I said, it almost was not to be. And like I said, LeBron James has to tighten up on the defensive end. He played a great game in the second half as far as his defensive tenacity. But in the first half, I mean, Taurean Prince was just really having his way, which I didn't think would happen. Taurean Prince, I think, was 4 out of 7 from the 3-point line, and a lot of time was that LeBron James was hanging too much off him, just kind of in no man's land in between whether he was going to stay on his man or go double somewhere else. So LeBron James, that's something he needs to clean up, because the Memphis Grizzlies would definitely make you pay for it, because they have sharpshooters in Desmond Bane, and then let's not forget about y'all know who I'm talking about. Damn it. You know who I'm talking about. But he's making a name for himself. And then let's not forget about Kanchar, very sharp shooter. We know that the Memphis Grizzlies has. Dylan Brooks, we know the defensive tenacity that he brings. Of course, we know what Ja Morant brings to that team. And of course, Jared Jackson Jr., who was top 3 in blocks this season. So we all know what he's capable of going to the All-Star game this year as well. So 2 All-Stars against another 2 All-Stars, even though technically AD was not an All-Star this year. But a whole lot to talk about going forward. We're going to break down how Atlanta was able to overcome. Plus, we got the games tonight as we lock in the seeds, who are eventually going to be the 8 seeds. But like I said, the Lakers don't play again until Sunday afternoon. I know they need that much needed rest. It's going to be a great game down in Bluff City, Memphis 10. Get all the way ready for it. I look forward to it. and we're going to do a full breakdown of that maybe tomorrow, of course, as we talk more about the Lakers as we push towards their matchup in the playoffs and exactly the other teams who they're going to face. I think that Phoenix Clippers series is going to be a very interesting series. Got some great matchups going on in that series. And of course, that Golden State Sacramento is going to be a great series as well. You're talking about #1 and #2 offensive team in the league as far as points per game. I think that's going to be a really, really good series. And just the way Golden State has not been able to win away from Oracle this year, and with the Kings having home court, Golden State is going to have to win a game in Sacramento, and Sacramento has been lighting that beam. So we're going to see how that goes. But at the end of the day, you know, just keep sticking with me. We're going to keep talking more about the Lakers. If you haven't done so already, y'all know what to do. Hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe. And as always, man, this is your boy B New. I'm saying right on to the real, and much love to these haters.